Welcome everyone to the Wednesday corporate update call. I really look forward to these calls every week to see and talk to everyone. We have a great month going on in November. We're about halfway through the month, and just this week we launched a special promotion, which we'll get into later. A couple weeks ago, Ryan had talked about habits, and I don't know if any of you guys follow Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins is an inspirational speaker. I love her. I think she is amazing, and when she talks, she always speaks to me. She speaks to my soul. And she did a video a couple of weeks ago, or I think it was about a month ago, where she talked about habits and how to create a habit. She went out and she was picking up dog poop on her lawn, and she was talking about how her dog has this horrible habit of just pooping wherever it wants. So she's talked about, she was relating picking up dog poop to how do you create a habit in your own life. And it was a really good video. And what she had talked about is to create a trigger of the habit that you want to do, and then give yourself a reward. So how this relates to her dog and her dog pooping all over the yard is she never trained her dog. She never made her dog have this habit of pooping in one place. And so she had to go through the process of creating this habit for her dog to poop in one area, so it'd make it easier for her to pick up poop in her yard. And it's the same applies for us. If we want to create a good habit, we need to have a trigger, and then we need to reward ourselves for that trigger to make that habit. So when Ryan was talking about habits a couple of weeks ago, this video popped up. I thought it was great, and it's really true. Sorry for the loud noise in the background. But we need, I thought this was a great way for all of us to be thinking about how do we create good habits within our lives. And for me, I am going to be starting a new habit. I got away of the habit of exercising. When I became pregnant, I was exercising, but I got to a point where it just was not comfortable, and I never got back into that good habit. So starting this week, I have decided that I am going to start exercising again. I'm not going to get myself back into that good habit. So I have my trigger, and this is actually the trigger that she talked about. My trigger is laying out my workout clothes so that I see my workout clothes. My brain is triggered to say, I need to work out. And then my reward is I like a good cup of decaf coffee. I know a lot of people like caffeinated coffee, but I drink decaf coffee. So my reward is once I get through with my exercise, I get to have my decaf coffee. And if I don't do my exercise, I don't get my decaf coffee. So I just wanted to share that with you guys as a good tip on creating good habits within your life. And this can be applied within your business. If you want to do, if you need to do presentations or call someone, have your scheduler out on your desk as the trigger that you need to make a call to someone, and then give yourself a reward, whether that is going out for a walk if you enjoy walking, or if it's like a little treat at night, like a bowl of ice cream. Just make sure that you get, that's probably a bad habit that you don't want to get into. But find out what that trigger is in your business, and then what that reward is going to be, which will help you in building your business. All right, let's get into a few things. I'm going to turn the time over to Mumford since I have a little bit of noise in the background, and I'll let him go through the promotions for this week and also the month of November and 500 Club. So
well done, well done. Good stuff.
Angie, thank you. Thank you for your amazing inspiration. And I love that idea of a trigger and responding. I think I'm excited to hear updates on that through these weekly calls and to see how you're doing with that goal. So Angie, that's so cool. I wanted to share a little bit about the promos that are going on. So it is November. We are past the 15th of the month, meaning we're on the second half of the month. So this is the time. You've got tons of volume already in on your accounts. A lot of auto ships have already run. You know where we're at. So now's the time to run, because we want to make sure we get as much volume in now before Thanksgiving craziness and people get busy and distractions hit. So I think you guys should look at your calendars and kind of set a way of how you're going to achieve as many of these promotions for your team as possible right now. So the first promotion is the 200 volume. Any order of 200 volume receives your special November-versary. So this is our 3-year anniversary backpack with a free bottle of Genomics. So make sure that you're not missing out on this exclusive item and everyone on your team can get it. We also have a free bag for anyone who does 100 PV order or more. So if you have anyone that's on the fence with 1 bottle of Link, make sure they get 1 more bottle in this time so they don't miss out on that free bag that they can use. So make sure everybody's getting this. Anyone's auto ship that isn't set to 200 yet, let's work with our teams and get their auto ship set, because there's still 2 auto ship dates to fire on the 20th and the 25th. So you still have time to get those auto ships reset and to fire in the month of November. So we want to make sure that those all get in. The 500 Club is something that I feel like is really unique and part of the culture of ACTIVZ. And so when anybody joins the company, they have 90 days from their enrollment to enroll 10 new distributors at 200 volume. 200 is kind of that big number we have, so that they can earn a $500 payout and join our 500 Club. Well, over the last few months, we've been running special 500 Club promos so that everybody has a chance to requalify or to earn it again. So we have a lot of people that have earned the 500 Club or qualified for the 500 Club 2 and 3 times through this last few months of rerunning this promo for everybody. So the start of November was the kickoff of another 3-month window for everyone in the company to qualify for the 500 Club. So that means all enrollments for November, December, and January will qualify you to be a part of our 500 Club and to be a winner and a qualifier, or to be a second winner or a third winner or a fourth winner. So make sure everyone in your team has that goal to get there. And I think a good rule of thumb, if they're running for that, is to never procrastinate and to wait for the end, right? I think if you can front load that and make sure that you're getting 4 enrollments in the month of November, and then 3 in December and 3 in January, that's much better off than getting 1 or 2 now and then being stressed and working towards that goal. So I think every single enrollment in November helps get you that much closer. So then mentally, you're only a few enrollments away. And I think getting everyone on your team to be running towards that right now would be great. So I love to see 500 Club announcements. I love to be able to shout out to those that have qualified for that. And so try to get everybody in your team to run for that 500 Club. So the last item, I just want to remind everybody is that the month of November and the month of December is that requalification period for our Punta Cana 2021 incentive trip. So that was everybody that was running throughout the summer. They are requalifying right now in the month of November and the month of December in order to leave on that 2021 Punta Cana incentive trip. So I think it's part of who we are as ACTIVZ to be able to see these fun trips and to be able to qualify for those and be able to set the goal to be on them. So I talked about this before, but make sure everybody on this call sets the goal to be on that next incentive trip and to run to be able to make it there. So with that, I'm going to kick it back over to Angie.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, it's exciting to see some of our 500 Club winners on this call. Maribel, Corey, Griselda, all of them are 500 Club, and I'm sure I'm missing someone or a few people on there, but all of them are 500 Club winners. I know that Ed and Karen are super close to qualifying for this 500 Club. Woo, go Griselda! So we want everyone on this call to be a 500 Club qualifier. So you have plenty of time, November, December, January, get running, get people enrolled, and don't wait until the last minute. Make sure you start enrolling those people. Okay, for our calls for this week and a little bit into next week, Tonight, we have Dean Haymore doing our opportunity presentation. So make sure you tune in tonight. If you guys didn't get a chance to listen to the Monday night testimonial call, be sure to find the recording. It was absolutely incredible about what the products can do for people. We had Corey Williams, Coco Gonzalez, and Trish Clausen on the call, and they did an incredible job about what the products have done for them. So be sure to find that recording, listen to it. You'll be very inspired as to what it's done for them, and also give you some insight as to what it could do for some other people. This Friday, our product overview call, we are going to cancel it for this week because we have our Saturday global virtual event. And I think I'll turn some time over to David and Ryan to talk about the event we have coming up on Saturday. So it'll be Saturday starting at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So David, Ryan, I'll let one of you guys
I will defer to the man in the tie. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say about it, David. So how about this? I'll go first, and then you can say a few words. I actually wasn't going to say a whole lot about this Saturday. I've got something else on my mind, but I will share a couple thoughts. I'm very excited about it. David and I were talking last night, and just before, I was letting him know about a conversation I was on with a nutritionist in Mexico, somebody who does a lot of trainings for us, someone who's she's been very prolific in our doctor meetings down there, and she's the only person who has ever gotten one of our Zoom meetings to exceed 1,000 people. Actually, we hit 1,000 people, and we couldn't have more people. So she's very popular. She does a great job for us, and she's working on, she's doing her own test group with some of her patients that she sees using the new formula, the product that we're going to be launching this coming Saturday. Well, it'll be available beginning in January, but we're going to be going through the nuts and bolts this Saturday. And I'm really excited about it. I know David's excited. The whole team's excited. Many members of the team have been using it, trying it, testing it. But anyways, this doctor that I was speaking with yesterday evening, I was pleasantly surprised because she's gone through the formula. She has a bunch of samples that she's using with this test group that she has set up, which is really just her. These are non-distributor patients of hers, and there's a reason why she selected people that weren't already active as distributors. And I think it's justifiable to do it the way she's doing. She was really over the moon. She said, Ryan, this is quite an interesting formula, particularly as it relates to the trifecta, right? So using Link specifically to manage microbiome issues, genomics, and optimizing genetic expression, tetrahydrocurcumin or Optimen to manage inflammation, chronic pain, so on and so forth. And she was talking about the interplay between these, and then really kind of delve deeply into some of the specific delivery methods that are with specific ingredients. And she said, you don't see this in any other weight loss products or any other products that promise increased energy. And she went on to explain to me kind of some of the structure function behind these specific ingredients and just her general excitement. So I was pleasantly surprised because I feel like I've been, since '95, I've worked in nutrition companies that marketed, developed, designed nutrition products, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you get on the phone with a doctor or a healthcare practitioner, and they have real issues with a product, and they have a lot of questions that they don't understand. They don't line up with their training. But with her, it was not the case last night. She said this is really going to be a very, very exciting addition to the product portfolio of ACTIVZ, and so. That's what I'll tell you about. I mean, as far as Saturday goes, there's a lot of things that we're going to be touching on and talking about, but there's something to wet your whistle with. Show up ready to learn, invite people, maybe use this also as a follow-up tool people who you've reached out to and who haven't made a decision yet, or if you know that this is a good opportunity to follow up and just keep people updated on what's going on with your business, and say, hey, if you're able to, 9 o'clock Mountain Time, you're welcome to join this live broadcast that my company is doing from the ACTIVZ affiliate in Salt Lake City. And you're going to hear, you know, from some scientists, from some of, you know, the company's founders, and so on and so forth. So, you know, make sure you capitalize on this opportunity and look forward to this launch. I'm excited. David, what are you looking forward to this Saturday?
Well, you pretty much covered it, but Annette, whom you mentioned, is going to be speaking in Spanish. So some of you English speakers are going to be saying, maybe I better brush up on my Spanish a little bit before Saturday, which would not be a bad idea anyway. But you'll be happy to know that we're going to be doing a parallel track on the English side. And we have an English-speaking version of the same woman who's going to be presenting. She also is a functional medicine specialist who works largely. Most of her clientele are women, women who are trying to achieve a healthier lifestyle, more of an ideal weight, and just kind of get their health under control. And it's really interesting, as Ryan was telling me about his conversation with this nutritionist, and how she was ecstatic over the ingredients and had a lot of familiarity with them and deep knowledge about their use and benefits. And was excited to get to use them with her own clients and her own patients. It almost exactly mirrored the conversation I'd had with the woman who's going to present on the English side. And she's excited about it. She's part of a clinic, and so she needed to get the permission of the fellow doctors and nurse practitioners and others who are working in the clinic in order to utilize our product with patients and clients who are coming there. There was zero issue. They were excited about it. They also saw the strength and the benefit, and so it's going to be exciting. So stay tuned for her. We also have Admiral Matt Winter. I'm really excited about his presentation, and he and I had a recent conversation that we're going to try and replicate for the event. But it's really fascinating in terms of the science, and it reminds me that even though Admiral Winter is not a doctor, he is really a scientist by training. And you may recall that he was head of the Office of Naval Research for many years. For those of you that were at Life Vantage, you may recall that the Navy, through the Office of Naval Research, conducted a number of studies on protandem, and he was there during the time that some of those studies were being done. He's very familiar with oxidative stress. He's done a lot of research into our products, and frankly, it just reminded me we need to use him more, to tell the truth, because he brings a different perspective that's also very unique. And Dr. Rish Patel will also be there. So there's a lot of really exciting stuff going on. So I can't wait. It's going to be a really great way to kick off Thanksgiving week, a great way to kick off the holiday season. It will be an unusual and a historic event for the company. So I think that covers that for now. Angie, back to you.
All right, well, great. I think we covered all the topics today. So Ryan, you said you had something else that you wanted to discuss. So we'll turn the time over to you to end this call.
Thank you, Angie. You know, I wasn't planning on talking about this coming Saturday, and I'll just keep my comments really brief. I think that we've covered enough. This is a good update, but sometimes I think it's important that we share more than just an update on information that you probably already know about. I want to share with you a little bit of an observation that I made yesterday, and it was I may have shared this with some of you already, but I witness a lot of extremes, like kind of polar opposite sometimes. I have the opportunity, and I think many of you do too, as you work with your teams and people in ACTIVZ, people who are having success and people who, for the life of them, cannot seem to get any success. And I feel like I deal with this, I face this every single day, and it's not unique to ACTIVZ. This is something that I feel like you know, I've had a front row seat with for 25 plus years now. And yesterday I was really thinking about this because I was speaking with a friend of mine, and I'm not going to mention names. I'm starting to learn I shouldn't share names because of, you know, people like to editorialize sometimes, or they, actually other way around. They don't want me to editorialize, so I'm not going to use their name. But it was an interesting conversation. We had a three-way call or three-way Zoom with somebody who'd been a leader from another company. And he was actually really excited about all the research that he'd seen, that he'd done with ACTIVZ, and he's joining our company. But before this guy got on the Zoom, she was telling me how frustrated she was. And she was telling me that, you know, most of my friends, they're like me. They're actually stay-at-home moms, and they're not sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're not really wanting for anything right now. They're not, you know, the pain of their current situation is not great enough so that they are willing to go through, you know, additional discomfort to build a business. And she says, I just, you know, for the life of me, I can't get through to them. They're not interested. And so she went on to explain to me that, you know, instead of throwing the towel in, she's like, I've put myself out there, and I'm going to put myself out there in a way I've never done it before. She went on to explain this Facebook campaign that she's launching. And she told me, she said, Ryan, I've never done this, but in the last 4 days since Saturday, I've spoken with 120 people. How did I do that? And she started to tell me about what she was doing on Facebook and this campaign she was doing to expand her reach. And she said, oh, so many people as a result of this campaign are contacting her wanting more information, saying, you know, asking for more information. These aren't people she knows. And she says, I have been way too busy, right? I didn't realize it was gonna be this busy, but she suddenly has this mountain of people that she's following up with. And she says, you know, and she was basically asking, you know, what my availability was and things like that. And then we got on the Zoom with, you know, with one of the people who she'd met. And I got to thinking how oftentimes we get stuck in a rut, right? And most people in that moment give up. I think statistically that's the case. In the direct selling industry, most people, when they feel like they're stuck and they're just not having results, typically people don't double down. They just don't, not in my experience. I think most people, they quit, right? And they don't announce it. They don't send an email to the company. You stop hearing from them, right? And then before you know it, months and years have gone by and you're like, whatever happened to that person? And for me, it's kind of sad. Because it means that they kind of gave up on their dream. And so in thinking about that and thinking about what my friend did and what she explained to me yesterday, I really think that everybody comes to that moment in your business, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, where things don't work out and you are required to shift gears. Sometimes you have to shift into a higher gear. And in the case of my friend, she's going to have to engage in much greater output. Sometimes we have to downshift, right? Because the climb is that much more steep. We're facing more difficulties, and we've got to downshift and focus on, you know, what could I do to improve my results, right? What can I do to refocus on some of the basics? After that Zoom with her, you know, I was really thinking about this and everything she said. I was really happy with what she told me. I got on a boot camp call with a team, and some of you know Carla Lopez. She's an A10 out of Mexico City, and she's got a great team. And most of her team is concentrated in a small town in northern Mexico called Cuauhtemoc. It's got about 150,000 people, and it's about a third Amish, a third Tarahumara, Indian, and then about a third Mexican national. Well, they're all Mexican nationals, but you know, Mexican. And so it's a real mixture of cultures when you go to Cuauhtemoc. I've been there a few times, more than a few times, and I always love going there. But on this boot camp, something similar happened where I was listening to one person after another talk about what they were working on, what was working, what wasn't working. Some people were sharing some best practices. And nothing really jumped out at me. It was, people kind of saying, yeah, no, I wasn't able to do it. And you say, what got in your way? Why weren't you able to hit your goal this last week? Well, I spent a lot of time traveling around to these other places and visiting people. And so we talked about that. And then a woman who I didn't know started to talk, and she said, I wanted to share something. She said, she started to talk about how she started to do something that we had talked about weeks earlier, which was find your favorite study and print it out, right? Actually have multiple copies, right? Studies on, whether it's link optimum genomics, or whether it was NRF2, whether it was butyric acid, or whether it was tetrahydrocurcumin. And she said, I want to share my experience. And she said, I've actually been signing up. She signed up like maybe 3 people so far this week. She's like, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's kind of easy. She's like, I'm introducing people to the opportunity, talking to them about the product, and I'm leaving this with them, and they're looking at it, and that is sealing the deal. That's basically closing the deal for me, is what she said. She's like, it's not so much what I'm saying or sharing testimonials, but it's showing people that what I'm talking about is legitimate. And so, and everybody was listening to her, and she was talking about the success she's having. And I realized that, again, it's not complex. She's not reinventing the wheel. She's simply doing something to sharpen the saw, to use a phrase used by Tim Collins in Good to Great. She's improving her game a little bit. So I want to share with you quickly a couple studies that I like to share with people. And lately, and so if you can see my screen, this is one, these are relevant. They're talking about things that people are thinking about today. COVID-19. This is, you'll notice that a lot of studies they're done in they're kind of interrogatives, they're questions, because everyone has to be, have an abundance of caution when talking about COVID-19. And so I've noticed that a lot of articles are posed as questions. So, is a healthy microbiome responsible for lower mortality rate in COVID-19? If you just read the abstract, it's fascinating, and it actually, it draws conclusions such that, or it makes certain implications such that it's a very simple segue into talking about link. If you, let's see here, what else do I have? Here's another study, the NRF2 activator in COVID-19. Is there a possible role? And this is an abstract that's similar to the study that was, or the article that was released from a university in Australia about 5 months ago, talking about a molecule that exists, or that's produced in the NRF2 activation process, that has a direct impact on, I think it's pulmonary inflammation, but something associated with COVID-19. And if you recall that study, it was very interesting. So I found this. Another study that I think is relevant is this. This talks about the epigenetic nature of tetrahydrocurcumin, in other words, Optimend. And so I'm just sharing these as an example of something that you can use to sharpen your saw, to up your game, and maybe switch it up a little bit. If you're not in the habit of printing things out, giving them to people, or sending them to people, you ought to try it. Because yesterday, a woman shared with me that she's having quite a bit of success just doing that one thing. So I want to share that with all of you, reminding all of us, we're sitting in an ever-expanding $200 billion global industry. The largest segment, and frankly, the fastest growing segment of that, is the wellness category. It's 36% of that 200. The remaining 65 or 64% of it is broken up into much smaller categories, whether it's personal care, whether it's financial services, whether it's all these other types of things that are being sold and marketed through direct selling. The largest segment, however, is wellness. Most people are looking and are very keen on improving wellness and finding solutions for their problems. So if there's any question as to whether or not we're in the right place at the right time, I want to remind everyone that we are in the right place at the right time, in the right industry, and with the right company. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. Angie, I will throw it right back to you.
Thank you. Gosh, those articles were absolutely amazing. It makes me want to, I haven't taken my pills yet today. It makes me want to run upstairs and make sure I get my pills taken. I saw Gil at the beginning of the call taking his. So great job, Gil. All right. Well, David, I'm going to throw some time back to you and let you end this call.
Well, thanks, Angie. I was momentarily distracted. I just got a text, and I don't know how, I mean, we talked about this, what do they call it? Something, I think, what did we talk about this, Ryan, where somebody can zoom in on a geographic area and just send you a text, and it was something geofencing, right? And somehow I'm being geofenced. But it got me kind of excited. It had this random text sent to me, note, someone just sent you cash, check your balance here. Okay, I didn't really get that excited. I'm pretty sure it's bogus, but there's lots of bogus messages out there. And actually, to what Ryan was just talking about, it's great to have a real message with real science that really makes a benefit to somebody. But it got me thinking, you know, I was thinking about a similar thing to what he just spoke about. In high school, you know, it's football season here in the United States, and I love football. And some of you will be surprised to know that I played football in high school, and I wasn't a great passer, but I was pretty fast. And we ran something called the option offense, a triple option, and we had the wishbone, and the wishbone referred to the formation of the people behind me. And the main play was you had a triple option, and you had three things you could do with the ball. You could hand the ball to the fullback running through. The quarterback, myself, could keep the ball and run it around, or I could run it and then pitch it, throw it to the guy behind me. And so you had different options, and you were supposed to make your decision based upon what you saw the other side doing. But we were playing in a game one time, and we were running it, and I'd kept the ball. I'd done the second option, and I got tackled right in front of my coach. After gaining about 10 yards, I thought, hey, that's pretty good. But instead of congratulating me and saying, great job, Brown, he bent over, and as coaches are wont to do, especially back in the 80s, where they weren't quite so politically correct, he started yelling at me, getting in my face, saying, you know, look for the pitch, look for the third option, run it the other side. And so I ran it the other side. And even though I had gained 10 yards before, this time, in terms of I looked and didn't just ignore the other option, and I pitched the ball to the guy behind me, and he ran 50 yards for a touchdown. And it was interesting because from his perspective on the sideline, and being a coach with a lot more experience, he was able to see things that I wasn't paying attention to enough. I had these options I could do, but I wasn't taking advantage of all the options. And I think that ties in exactly to what Ryan's talking about. Sometimes we think we're in a groove, but we're really in a rut, and we need to look, and we might be a little bit comfortable, but looking at these other things, I think it's and a great way to, kind of playing again off what he talked about, a great way to kind of come up with ideas and remind yourself why you got so excited is, I would really encourage you, if you're not spending much time on the app, look at the app fairly regularly and review the assets, the videos, the things that are on there. Because I was just looking the other day, and yesterday, as a matter of fact, and reminding myself, oh wow, I hadn't looked at that video by Dr. Earl in quite a while, where he talks about, you know, the gut being such a great shield for and the biggest part of our immune system and things like that. And I think it's really important to remind ourselves and to go back and look at those things, because you will find something that really is important to you to share with other people. And I would also encourage you to spend a little bit of time. It doesn't take much, really. I think Ryan's the same way that I am. You know, you might say, well, how do you find these studies? It's pretty easy. You know, what I do is I Google things like microbiome and COVID, butyric acid and the immune system, you know, I mean, and it's amazing how easy it is to find additional information. But rather than get, you know, we don't want to necessarily, you know, drown ourselves in all this information such that we aren't able to get out there and we don't know, well, what do I do? I think it's just, I really love the advice that Ryan just gave. Find something that really is exciting for you and share that with others, because at that point, you know, we really don't come across as a salesperson. We don't come across as somebody who's just looking to make, we're not looking at people as dollar signs. We're really talking to them in an excited manner about something that's important and exciting to us. And there's a reason why wellness is the #1 category. People are increasingly becoming aware of, of all the fast talking at the end of drug commercials that talk about all of the side effects that might happen, and reading the fine print, and more people are saying, geez, man, why would anybody take that drug? And really looking to see if there's something that can offer a benefit that's within their control for the particular health benefit that they're seeking. So anyway, I just think that all of us, as we head into this holiday period and we're around other people, have a real opportunity to share things. Thanksgiving is we're all spending a lot of time eating and talking about how full we are and how much weight we're about to gain and all those type of things. It's a really great opportunity to talk to them about, the microbiome and being healthy and going into the new year and making plans for their health, without coming across as just that weird Uncle Harry who's part of that MLM, let's go the other way, because he's always going to try and rope us into it, but really talking about the health benefits. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Saturday. It's going to be an exciting event. And the more participation, the better. It's not a great substitute for being in person, and we look forward to those days when we can all get back together again. But nevertheless, it's going to be pretty wonderful, I think. So thanks all for participating. Angie, any last words belong to you and to your little guy.
All right, thank you all for joining. We will have a link for the Saturday event by tomorrow. We'll send it out in an email, but also to WhatsApp groups. So be sure to check your email, check WhatsApp, get the link, share it with others. Let's get a bunch of attendance on the Saturday event. This is going to be an awesome event. Thank you all for joining today, and we will see you on Saturday.
See you, everybody.
Thanks, Angie. Take care, everybody.